appreciate you taking the time out to do this for us, with us, and a lot of these questions are going to be more geared towards the fact that you're a student and maybe not so much that you're an employee at the library, if that makes sense. Okay.
Okay.
So I guess nobody else is coming, so let's just start it. Sarah, is that okay with you?
Yeah, it sounds fine to me.
Okay. The library went to a partial closed stacks model on March 24th and had limited the access to the buildings. Although the library is never fully closed, how did this new model affect you?
Especially as a student.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a student, I guess my thing is that, like, I've consistently used the library as, like, a study space, but since I still kind of worked there, I still was kind of able to use it as a study space. Shutting down of the libraries definitely was tough, but, like, many of the resources, like books and stuff like that, I typically don't need for my major, since I'm a science major, and most of the stuff comes directly from the textbooks.
Right.
I did see it as a problem for other people because the URI library definitely has a lot of, like, local town records that I know, like, history majors refer to.
Did you see that as a problem as you were working with the students that were wanting to come in, or were they having any issues getting the things they needed?
So I work in the Makerspace, which is more the application of what you learned in the library area, the high-tech arts and crafts center, as I tell people. So, like, I didn't necessarily get to witness the struggling of being able to obtain information, because usually by the time they are entering the makerspace, they are more wondering how to apply the information that they have, if that makes sense.
It does.
Did anybody really, like, get upset because they couldn't get to the makerspaces as they wanted to?
I mean, for anyone that's gotten upset, they haven't contacted me. Like, I don't think they've contacted my boss. I'm sure that there are some people who are upset, but, like, I mean, they gotta really, like, walk all the way to the library, walk into this building, and walk into this room in order to file a complaint here. Oh, they're just saying something on the announcement above. Okay. Sorry. But yeah, so I haven't, like, witnessed that firsthand. All of the people who usually come into the makerspace are using the materials, and they're usually pretty understanding of, like, the fact that, like, we're only allowed to have so many people in the room, that, like, we can't necessarily have them use, like, certain things because they might, like, spread germs, but, like, they're usually pretty understanding, and they're usually coming in here now because they know that they need to 3D print, or they know that they need to use the vinyl cutter. So, like, less and less of that. Yeah, sorry if I rambled a bit.
No, you're fine. It's a fluid conversation.
Yeah, as fluid as we can be.
As we can be, yeah.
I know it's kind of awkward. I always feel that way when I interview students. I hire them for my job, so I know it's awkward to have, like, preset questions.
No, I'm fine with it. I'm just trying to, like, give you guys stuff to work with, because, like, people being upset with me, I don't want to just be like, nah. Then, yeah, like, I want to give you some more information to work with.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. I appreciate that. Were you able to access what you needed to online for your classes? Did you find anything difficult about not being able to go to the library? I guess that's part of the same question.
Well, this isn't really a library problem, but URI decided 2-3 weeks before we started classes, they were talking about switching, like, from Sky to Brightspace, which is where, like, a lot of professors post information. They were talking about that last year, but they apparently only really made the official announcement 3 weeks beforehand. So we all had to change our emails. We all had to change like user accounts and stuff like that. And professors all had to relearn the website of posting stuff. So getting information this semester was difficult purely because it was like a completely new online website, and like professors were still unfamiliar with it. So it was very confusing. Also, professors were in a new teaching medium. However, when I had a class online during the summer, when we were still using the old thing that people were familiar with, I was successfully able to get all the information I needed online for my classes because professors knew what they were doing. So I think that like the closing down of the library, specifically for the classes, and like how it applies to my major as an individual, didn't really affect my access to information. Now, if I was like someone who had to use the library to get textbooks and wasn't able to acquire them online because of my major, which they have like a public resource for them, I definitely think that it would be more difficult, or I'd end up having to shell out money in order to get it, which quite frankly, I'm not about that.
Nobody really.
No.
As of August 31st, with the increased access that's been granted for physical use of the libraries to students and faculty, but it's only at 2/3 normal capacity, right?
Yeah.
What has been your experience with physically using the library since this increase of access has been in place? I assume like now you're back to work, and are you like using it more as a study space now?
For me personally, about the same. When I'm working here, I'm studying, I'm working, well, studying in my downtime, working when I'm fixing stuff up or helping students. Between classes, I'll occasionally pop in and use the library as a study space. But in terms of like meeting with groups of people and where we say we're going to sit down and study something, a lot of it is happening either over Zoom or like Discord or any one of those apps, and not necessarily happening at the library. The private study rooms here at URI, which were like confined spaces that were like quiet, that like a group could go in and work on stuff. Now you can't really get groups in there because like putting a bunch of people in a confined space is just not a good idea right now.
Yeah, Angel mentioned that you guys didn't have like the right ventilation in those rooms, so you couldn't have them open.
Yeah. So like there's definitely like for group projects and stuff like that, talking to people, we used to just be like, let's just go to the library and get a group study room. Now it's kind of more like, I guess we'll meet over Zoom and figure something out.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to be like, if things ever do go back to normal,
Yeah.
that's going to be something that's going to stay that way, or do you think that people will start meeting up again physically rather than over virtual communication? Or do you think now like this is just easier than leaving your dorm or your house to meet a study group?
It's technically easier. Like by definition, all I got to do is like turn on my computer and start talking to someone. I don't even really have to like fully put pants on and stuff, but like sorry, but like I think that like it's like in theory versus in practice. In theory, yeah, it's easier, but in practice, when you communicate over like these things, you're missing out information still that like you aren't able to fully like communicate in person. And I think that like me personally, I like the study rooms. I like talking to the people. I like interacting with them and like writing stuff down. So I think once it goes back to normal, I think I would go back to using these study rooms quite regularly. but I'm sure that there are some people who are just going to be like, nah, I'm just going to stick to Zoom.
Yeah.
But, you know, I really think it's just a preferential thing. Like,
I get that.
Yeah.
Um,
Obviously, I think the next question is I think you're going to say yes, you're comfortable with it. The question is, do you feel comfortable going to the library, or would you prefer to have your needs met through those online interactions or curbside pickups?
I'm perfectly fine going to the library since I work here. I the whole curbside pickup stuff and all that, for whatever, in order to go to the library, just doesn't make sense to me because, like, from here, it's just easier. But, like, if I wasn't working here and I wasn't comfortable, I guess then I maybe use the curbside pickup, but I don't know. Yeah, sorry. That's like a lame answer.
No, it's fine. It's definitely your opinion on things, and it's hard because you already work there.
Yeah.
So, you know, you are comfortable going there. So,
how much is the curbside pickup being used? Do you know?
I do not actually.
I can ask. I'll ask.
Yeah, I was gonna say that might be a question for like the dean or Angel or somebody else, because talking to students in classes and stuff like that, it doesn't really come up in conversation where it's like, how often do you use curbside pickup at the URI library? You know, like
you have more important things to talk about than books. So how do you feel about the way that the library communicated its partial closing plans and reopening plans?
I think they communicated it like pretty sufficiently well. URI sends out emails for like big events and stuff like that. I don't know if like every college does that. I'm assuming they do, but like they pretty much said like this is how the library is going to work. They also like posted it on like the doors of the library. They had like the hours and stuff like that. When I started working again here over the summer, they basically told me the procedure over email. My boss communicated it to me very well. Most people I talked to and interacted with like understand like how the library works, and you see that like with the few exceptions of some people who just like sit close to each other, or like the like, odd kids who are just like not wearing masks or something like that, they're most people understand like how things are supposed to go in the library, and a lot of it is just like common sense stuff too in this situation. So I think the library did a very good job of communicating.
Good.
Well, you get to keep your job.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, unbiasedly, yeah, I think that they did a good job of communicating it. But that honestly, like, if I was somebody who didn't check the emails and didn't like read on what's written on the doors and all that stuff, I don't know, maybe I'd have trouble figuring it out. But
I don't know how people like that make it through this life, but they're out there.
I don't know, I seem to be doing pretty okay.
What would you like to see the library doing as we continue to move through the pandemic?
It's tough because like the library is like libraries as like a concept to me at least should be like there to be like a building that like meets the needs of like its community or whatever. And like right now there's not much more it can do because it is a center of commerce in a way, and it's like right now there shouldn't be that unless there was a way to have like set up a virtual library, which is different because when you say virtual library you think of like being able to get books and stuff, but like the experience of sitting, communicating, and passing ideas around with people, that's kind of what Zoom is. So it's like kind of in a weird spot I don't know what the library could do more going forward during the pandemic, because what it needs to do would be like out of its power. It can't fix the pandemic. It can't magically make a bubble where like the virus can't get in here and like interact. So it's tough. I think the best thing that it can do going forward is to continue to provide services to those who need it and stay open, because like there is going to be people who need the 3D printers or the Final Cutters in the Makerspace to do projects for classes, since classes are still going on. And there are going to be people that need like a quiet place in order to study. And there are going to be people who need to get a certain book for themselves. So like, I think that's the only thing I can do going forward, is just to keep providing services. And that sounds like such a cheap, lame-o answer, but like...
I don't think so, because I think there's a lot of talk, you know, about closing things again if you have to.
Yeah.
It's important that we don't reverse. I don't know. That's my opinion.
I think that if classes at a university are still open, then the university library should still be open. Like, it's so integral to like the process. It would be like saying, if you're gonna keep having classes, okay, well, we're not gonna have the dining hall open anymore.
Right.
But, like,
People need to eat.
yeah, exactly. Like,
yeah.
How do you think services should change for students? Was there anything in particular that you would like to? This is the same question. Sorry, I didn't write these questions. Blah, blah, blah. No, I'm going to skip that one. Okay, shifting gears to the racial protests and Black Lives Matter movement, what has been your experience with the library's reaction or non-reaction to this? Because I know URI didn't specifically make a statement about it. Has it affected you at all? No wrong answer. I mean,
I know I'm trying to, I know I'm trying to like, if it's affected me in any way, because the reality of it is that I am not of the demographic affected, and
right.
I've just continued doing what I've been doing. The library has continued doing what it's doing. It serves people regardless of belief, like culture, race, whatever. Like, and it's always been that way. And I think that like the racial protestings haven't really affected anything here, because I think for the most part, this isn't where the problem lies, if that makes sense.
It does. We have, let me just tell you this, we have had recently an issue in our library where circulation staff, they are the ones who walk around and make sure everybody's wearing their mask, been accused of racial profiling people for not wearing their masks and saying something to them to put it on and not to white students. I haven't been there to see any of this, but so right now that's what we're dealing with. We've had like 3 complaints about it. So it's starting to affect, and I know like it would make me upset if I was accused of doing that. So I don't know.
Do you think there's other things that the library could do that they aren't doing, you know, in terms of showing solidarity for students of color? Because I know they didn't make a statement on purpose because they wanted to show with action rather than words. Is there anything else you feel like they could do?
It's tough because I am neither the person who is understands the politics of the library and the college and the university who's like, this is what we're allowed to do, this is what we're not allowed to do. And I am also not a person who is, I'm not a person of color. Like, I don't want to speak for this is what they should be doing, because
Right.
what do I know, you know? So I don't think I can really answer that. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
Well,
There's no right or wrong answers, like Kit said. None whatsoever. I guess if there were things that they could do in the future, such as programs or, you know, events or anything, are those things that you think that students would want to see happen?
You know what, going back to the previous question and answering this question, I think what the library could do is definitely listen to their community and what their community needs. And if their community needs those events, if it needs those resources, they should definitely work to provide them to their best abilities or to their extent, with you know, the university willing and all the other political business factors that will affect it, you know, because we're not an independent organization.
right.
And I think, like, if that's what students want, I think students would be happy for the library to do it. But I don't think the library would necessarily do it unless students were asking for it or they thought that that was something that students wanted, you know?
Hmm.
It's kind of like giving a glass of water to someone who just drank a gallon of it, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. I think
As far as like after the pandemic, you know, are there things that you'd like to see remain as things that the library continues to do, or, you know, anything that they've been doing that you really liked, or, you know?
Sorry, somebody is testing the loudspeaker of the announcement. It's
of course they are.
somebody I know at the front desk just going testing. It's like this sweet elderly lady, and it's just really funny and then distracting. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just kind of asking about things that going into the future, you know, we talked a little bit about what it might be like after, and, you know, those study rooms and how they might be used. And, but is there anything going forward in particular that you would like to see happen, or you would like to see remain in terms of the policies and procedures that got put into place during the pandemic? Would you just like your library back?
Me personally, at the Makerspace, I love the idea of people making appointments.
Well, hey, there you go.
To some
That's
extent, it actually like helps keep machines open,
Mm-hmm.
because we've been making appointments to know when people are coming in, so we don't have too many people. But also, I think it helps like let us know how many machines we're using and like not crowd them.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, we also did get a ton more 3D printers, so like, I don't know. But like, that's something that I would like. I don't know if we'll keep it. If we don't, I won't lose sleep over it. It's my boss's decision, not mine.
Right.
I say that
It's helpful, though.
my boss is in the corner. But of the policies in the library, like, I would like them to go back to the way that they were. I like the 24-hour room being open. I like the study rooms being available. And I mean, I like being able to drink from the water fountain.
Yeah.
You know, that's been a thing that's been difficult, is getting water sometimes when I forget a water bottle. So,
Yeah. You
You guys
guys,
all together?
what? Yeah, we have the water bottle thing.
Uh-huh.
Like, I can't like stick my head under and like.
yes, you. I'm just kidding. No, probably get in trouble for that.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like this is the exact opposite of what they want someone to be doing right now. So like, try to avoid it.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I don't know. Do you have anything else, Sarah?
No, I don't think so. Do you have any other things that you feel like you want to share from a student's perspective that we didn't, you know, ask you about or touch on?
mean, I could go on more about saying how I think like the library is important, but at some point I feel like it'll just reach redundancy, and at some point it'll definitely sound like, I love my job, please don't fire me. I think you guys can kind of get that from my previous words,
Yeah.
but I think, like I said, if the university remains open, the library has to remain open.
I like that.
It's integral to the operation. If we're still having classes, we need to have ways to get the information for the classes and ways to prepare for them. Not everyone has a house off campus. Not everyone has a quiet dorm on campus to study. Like, the library offers this, and like the library, like I've said, libraries have always been like a center of commerce and a place of like supplying people's needs. And right now, people still need that.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's been some universities where the students and even some of the faculty have used the library as a place to get Wi-Fi because they don't have it.
Yeah, yeah.
Live in rural areas, or they don't have it. So
that too, and it's just like that. That makes perfect sense. It's just like I think that they need to stay open. Like, yeah. Also, I want to keep making money, so
there's that too.
Yeah, of course.
I just thought of one more question. Sorry. Do you think the library's been doing a good job mitigating the risks of this, like the spreading of the coronavirus? As far as removing the seating now, I know you guys only have like 27% of the seating that you once had. I think that's the number. I don't know if that's the latest number, but do you think they've been doing a good job, you know, mask enforcement, reduced seating?
Well, there's some stuff that I think that they might not have even mentioned, how they put like things on the floor for like the 6 feet apart thing for like areas where people stand in line. They my job, we recently got a sanitation chamber for like things that we use that require like contact with humans, as opposed to the things that require contact with humans. That's a dumb thing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we know what you mean.
But like 6 feet apart things, signs that say like keep 6 feet apart, wear a mask, constant reminders. They have people like occasionally checking to make sure that people are standing apart, or not standing, or sitting apart. And I was sort of sleeping. And just a bunch of other things that I think they are doing the best that they can. Can they ever truly reach zero? Probably not, because there's always going to be those couple of students who say, I'm not going to listen to this. I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm not going to clean up my area. You know, all of that stuff. It's just, that's always going to be there. And they also do a good job of, they have in the front of the building, they have like a TV screen with URI statistics of like number of students tested, positive cases, and like percent of like stuff like that. So they constantly have that being like, this is the information, this is the stats on like how the university is doing specifically for COVID. But like I said, I don't think that can ever reach zero, but I think that they're doing the best job that they possibly could be, outside of like ludicrousy of like vacuum chamber, like sanitation chamber, like bleaching everybody when they walk in.
Just hose them down as they come in.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah. I don't know if that would even work. Like, right. I feel like there's still a chance.
Yeah. How many cases do you have on campus right now?
Off the top of my head, I don't remember. I think it was like in the 70s, which wasn't terrible. Mm-hmm. It's not a whole lot. But we did have mandatory testing recently by the university, and like everyone got tested. I came back negative, which was great.
Good.
Now, are you required to get tested occasionally there for work?
No, for work they did not require it because I don't think they ever asked me for it. But they did require all students to do it at some point. So maybe that's why they didn't require me to.
Probably, yeah.
I'm assuming that if I wasn't a student, they would say you need to do it. So
Now, as a student, are they going to ask you to continue to try to do it at certain intervals?
I don't know. That's probably a university thing, but I'm assuming yes. They still have the facilities set up. The Ryan Center, where like basketball games and stuff like that. Remember that? Now a COVID testing facility. So like they still have those resources available. So I could imagine like going forward that they're just going to keep those up and have people come in.
I believe the dean told us that they were still going to be doing like, or I could be getting my library mixed up with this mandatory like testing sometime in the future, like of a group of students. I don't know if it's like all of you at the same time or like just a specific dorm or whatever. But yeah, I think he said that you guys were going to keep doing it. Well, that's all I have. I appreciate you meeting with us and your candor.
Yes, thank you. I really appreciate it.
I've never had someone refer to my personality as my candor. I guess because I'm a bit of a Yankee, I've never heard that, but like that's a great term.
Yeah, take it, use it, pay it forward.
We are in a school in the South, so we know.
All right. Well, if I don't talk to you again ever, I hope you will enjoy the rest of your time in college and at the library.
Yeah.
You too. Thank you very much. This was spectacular.
Well,
Bye-bye.
bye.